Today's video tutor explains the topic tuples. Let me explain this using an example. Let me start with a comment. Okay. Now, tuple is also a Python sequence. What is a sequence? It is an ordered collection of elements where each element is indexed by an integer. So your string, list, tuple, they are all examples for Python sequence. Now, how do you write a tuple? You can write like this: T is equal to, inside round bracket, if you write something, it is a tuple. Okay, so let me write a few elements: 10, 20, and if you want to display the elements, it is print. You can write T. Save your file, run the program, you can see. Okay, the answer displayed. So inside round bracket, if you write a quantity, please understand that it's a tuple. Now if you want, you can display the type of data. See, inside print you can write type within bracket T. So what's the type of data? Say it is tuple. Okay, now tuple is a Python sequence, which means it is an ordered collection of elements. So tuple 10, 20 and tuple 20, 10, they are not the same. See, you can see. If I write T1 equals 20, 10. Now, are they same? Let me check. Okay. If T equal to T1, okay, then you can display the message print both the tuples are the same. Okay, otherwise you can display the message they are not the same. They are not the same. And I don't need this anymore. Let me delete that, run the program. They are not the same. So please understand, tuple 10, 20 and tuple 20, 10, they are not the same, because tuple is a Python sequence, and Python sequence means it is an ordered collection of elements. The order of the elements, that is very important. So the first element in tuple T is 10. If T and T1 were to be equal, the first element of T1 should also be 10. Okay, only then they are equal, because the order of the elements is very important. Now for the first element of the tuple, the index is 0. For the second element of the tuple, the index is 1, which means if you want to get the first element of tuple T, you can write print T square bracket 0. Okay, so indexing is done using square bracket. Please understand, even though it is tuple, we don't write like this. It's a mistake, because indexing is done using square bracket. You need to understand that. Okay, so you will get the first element of tuple T, run the program, you can see the answer. The first element displayed. Okay, similarly, if you want to get the second element of tuple T1, for the first element of tuple, the index is 0. For the second element of the tuple, the index is 1. Backward indexing is also there. Okay, so this is the last element of tuple T1. So how do you get the last element of tuple? It is -1, isn't it? You can write T1 of -1. Backward indexing. Negative indexing is also there. Okay, the last element is 20, I mean 10. Okay, so that is done. Now tuple may contain different types of elements. See here, let me write 9.9. Here let me write a string. Okay, so tuple T contains different types of elements. Maybe one integer is enough. Okay, it's an integer, it's a decimal number, it's a string. So if you display T, You can see it is displayed. So it's not a mistake. Tuple may contain different types of elements. So in that case, what is the difference between a list and a tuple? See, list is a sequence. It's a Python sequence. List may contain different types of elements. Tuple is a Python sequence. Tuple may contain different types of elements. So what is the difference between a list and a tuple? The difference is list is mutable. You can change the content of a list. You can make use of assignment operator to change the content of a list, whereas tuple is immutable. Let me explain that. Okay. So if I write L is equal to inside square bracket, if I write 10 comma 20 comma 30, okay, and if I write L of 0 equals 99, now you can print L. Okay, so this 10 will be replaced with the 99. So when you display L, it is 99, 20 and 30. You can see that. Let me delete this. Okay, now you save the file, run the program. You can see. Okay, but tuples are immutable. Instead of square bracket, if I make use of round bracket, it is a tuple. You know that, isn't it? So when you run the program, you can see syntax error because tuple is immutable. You cannot change the content of a tuple. Okay, so that is one main difference between a list and tuple. So what are the similarities between list and tuple? Both list and tuple, they are Python sequences. Okay, list and tuple may contain different types of elements. What is the difference between a list and tuple? List is mutable. You can change the content of a list, whereas tuple is immutable. You cannot change the content of a tuple. Okay, so these are the initial things that you need to understand from tuple.